Hey, what's up? Alasdair Cunningham here. So, what do you have to do to dominate your patch in your property investment business? As I said, my name is Alasdair. I'm a property entrepreneur, property investor here in the UK, and I am actively finding deals and selling deals to investors every single day of the week. I have investors from all over the world that trust me to find them properties in the right patches in the UK. Now, I can talk to you about this today because I'm actually doing it, and I know the areas that work and the areas that don't tend to work very well. So before we go any further, make sure you're subscribed. Also turn on notifications, that way you'll never ever miss an upload. Now, before you understand how to find an area, you first need to understand what strategy you're looking to do. It's very important because what areas might work for service accommodation, they might not work for HMOs. And vice versa. An area that's really good for HMOs might not work for service accommodation. So you need to really understand what strategy you're looking, or what your investor is looking for, before you can really figure out an area. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I done a video all about how anybody can get involved in property, and it laid out the price points and the budgets you will require for each investment strategy. So go and watch that. The link's in the description. Go and watch that, and that will give you a good idea to your level, where you're at with regards to your money, your appetite for risk, your credit worthiness, and it'll tell you what sort of strategy that you should be looking at to get involved in property if you want to use that as your sort of income stream. Go and watch that and then come back. Now, when you're looking for areas, you're only really looking for, well, certainly I'm only looking for, now you might be different, but I'm only looking for large towns and cities. I'm not interested in small towns and little villages and places like that, because I find they don't make great investment areas when it comes to rental demand. So I'm only looking for large towns and cities. So ask yourself, what's near you that is a large town and a large city? Now, the way we used to do it was, like, find a town up north that's got low property prices and then buy. But that's not always the case. That you can literally buy wherever your budget suits. So again, in the earlier video, you decided your strategy. So if you've got a lot of money to invest, it is worthwhile going somewhere very close to where you live if you live down south. Whereas if you already live up north, then you're already in a good investment area, likely. So depending on how much money you have available, depends where you invest. Also, the next thing, it depends who's going to manage the property. So if you're going to manage a property, you want the property to be pretty close to where you live. The last thing you want to have to do is to be driving for hours and hours and hours to go and change a lock, or to go and let a tenant in, or to show a tenant a room. You just don't want to be doing that. Personally, I don't manage any of my properties. They're all they're not self-managed. They're all managed property by property. So I have nothing to do with them. My only involvement with my properties is I pay the bills, and I have like a call or a Zoom call with my property managers every couple of months, and I keep in touch with them via WhatsApp or email. So like, I don't need to be involved day to day with them. I just don't need to be, because I entrust them to do their job. So, like I say, so for me, management is the only way forward. That then means that my area can be pretty much anywhere, because I'm not going to be managing them. So they can be pretty much anywhere in the country, so it's not a problem. Okay, so once you've found your strategy, and you've identified some large towns and cities, and you've identified whether you're going to manage or you're going to get it managed for you, now you need to start doing some due diligence. What do you look for in that town or that city? What makes a good area? What makes a good investment area? Well, a couple of things you're going to need to know. Now, just for clarity, this is only going to be an 8 to 10 minute video, so you're not going to get full DD done in 8 to 10 minutes. Typically, I would spend most of the day doing research on an area before I actually invest in that area. So this is just giving you an overview of really the things you need to be looking for. First thing I would be looking at is what is the sort of the average income from that area. And it's so easy. Jump on Google, type it in. What is the average income in this area? Or if you've got a nice phone, hey Siri, what is the average income for Bedford in the United Kingdom?
Just a sec. Okay, I found this on the web for what is the average income for Bedford in the United Kingdom. Check it out.
So there you are. The Bedford average salary, household income, is between 34,500 and 38,100. So it's got a very good average income. Now, you could do the same for what is the average rental price paid for a 3-bedroom property, what is the average rental price paid for a 4-bedroom property, what is the average rental price paid for a HMO room, with ensuite, without ensuite, what are the good areas to invest in that part of the city or the town, what areas are the no-go areas, are the red zones, the areas that you just don't go to and you do not invest in, what areas provide the best returns, what areas, when you advertise a property for sale and that property, they sell like that. So what areas in your town that when a property is listed for sale, they sell like that, they go. Likewise, what areas that if the property is listed for rent, they get snapped up in days. Like, you need to know all this sort of stuff. Now, one of the quickest ways to understand the area and to know this sort of stuff is to actually get your feet and get on the ground and start walking the streets. Get to know your area, get to meet people, go into the area, spend 2 or 3 days in the area, go to a networking event, meet other investors, chat to them, pick their brains, then go and meet up with a couple of estate agents. Say, look, you're an investor, you're looking to buy in this area for investment purposes, where's the best place? What area works best? What area, do the properties sell fast in? What areas do the properties just don't sell? And then go and see a letting agent, ask them the same questions. If I buy a property in this area, will it rent out? Where should I avoid? Where should I be looking to buy? What type of tenants will I be getting? You can do so much just by speaking to people. Literally, today I was speaking to Ricky Mandel, and Ricky Mandel's looking for some new areas. And he literally jumped on Spare Room, and he went to a Spare Room, and he looked for all the people, the agents that were advertising rooms. So the rooms that were being advertised by other HMO agents in this area. And he phoned them up. And he would sort of not play dumb, but he would just sort of ring up and say, hey, look, I'm looking to invest in this area. I've got a property that I'm considering on this street in this area. I'm just wondering if that's something you would be interested in managing. And if so, what do you think about that area? What do you think about the room rents, all that sort of stuff? He ended up speaking to this landlord in this given area for about 45 minutes, and the landlord was so helpful. And he gave him so much insight into the area that literally that 45-minute phone call probably saved him a day's worth of work. So it's all about connections with people. It's all about your rapport with other people in the area. It's investors, estate agents, letting agents. You've got to get out there, you've got to meet people. Next. When you're out there, when you're viewing properties, get a feel for the type of tenants that are going to be moving into your property. Have a drive round. Go to all the industrial estates. What are they like? What is the main type of jobs, industry in the area? Is it working professionals? Or is it like steel, like Sheffield, where it's like a steel city, where it's mainly industrial? Like the majority of tenants in likes of Sheffield and Hull and places like that, they're very industrial type of jobs up there. Nothing wrong with that. I find them some of the best tenants, but you do need to know. If you've got an area, in certain parts of the Midlands, it's mainly working professionals. But that's not a criticism. It's just you need to know, because for instance, if you've got a HMO, you wouldn't ever want to mix working professionals and industrial workers. You just wouldn't, because it causes rifts, because differences of opinions, different living styles, different livelihoods, different income levels, and it just causes a rift. Likewise, you wouldn't put students with anyone that works, because students tend to have a different way of living than people that work, and it just causes rifts. So only house tenants that come from a similar background and a similar work ethic, because they tend to get along better. And anyone that's got any HMOs will agree with this, I'm sure. You want harmony in your HMOs. You don't want any rifts or any arguments or any differences of opinions and all that sort of stuff. It just causes problems. I know landlords that have tried mixing tenants, mixing up tenants, and they regret it. Trust me. It ends up causing more problems. And one particular landlord I know in Blackpool, he had a whole house leave because of one tenant. He had 5 bedrooms empty and give their notice because of one tenant, because they couldn't get on with this tenant, and just very opinionated, very bad attituded tenant. Personally, I would have just evicted the tenant, but that's just the way it is. So you want to try and avoid mixing tenants. You want them all to come from the same sort of background, same sort of work ethic, same sort of demographic, so to speak. So listen, Area is really, really important. Find a good area, you'll always have a business. If you're a sourcer and you dominate that patch, you'll get it to a point where estate agents are coming to you with business. They're bringing deals to you because they know you can sell deals. And the thing is, when you know your area, you don't have to go there that often. You literally can go there once every 6 months because you build what's called a power team in the area. Now, if you get a good power team in the area, they can do the work for you for a very small charge. For instance, I don't go to Hull. Like, I spent so long in Hull, but I don't go there now. Never. If I need somebody to view a house for me, I can pick the phone up and ring my builder, or ring an agent, or ring a letting agent and say, look, I've got this house, can you go and view it and tell me if it's suitable? Like, I don't need to go there. And that would be the same for you. You find an area and you dominate it, it makes your whole life easier. Now, what I would say before we finish up, dominate one area before you start moving on to other areas. The reason I say that is don't become a jack of all areas but a master of none, okay? You need to be a master of one and not a jack of all, okay? You need to get that out your head, because what will happen is you'll go and look at houses in Wigan, in Warrington, in Preston, in Burnley, in Liverpool, in Hull, in Doncaster, but you'll never actually get anywhere. Focus on one area, pick it, choose it, love it, dominate it. And then when you've dominated it, then move areas. Guys, I hope you found that useful. If you have, drop me a thumbs up and drop me a comment below, and I shall catch you next time.